Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jaya Pataka Swami Maharaj on October 22nd, 2020 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Tangarangategaram Yatithada Mahanande Segaram Ninataniram Armananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Islam.
So today we are continuing with the Chaitanya Leela book compilation. So today we are continuing second part of Lord Chaitanya teaches the principles of surrender and reaches the village of Arti Sara. Part 2. Chaitanya Bhagavat.
প্রভু যারে যে দিবস নালিকে তাহা আহার রাজপুত্র হও তবু উপবাস তার।
If the Supreme Personality of Godhead does
If the Supreme Personality of Godhead does
not
not
right on that day, that person will not eat.
right that day, that person will not eat.
Even if he is the son of a king,
Even if he is the son of the king,
he will have to fast.
he will have to fast.
থাকিলেও খাইতে না পারে আজ্ঞা বিনে আকস্মাৎ কলহ করয়ে কারো শনে।
Even if food is there,
Even if the food is there,
without the Supreme Lord's sanction,
without the Supreme Lord's sanction,
one may not be able to eat.
one may not be able to eat.
Or he may suddenly quarrel with someone,
For he might suddenly quarrel with someone
or something which will impede his eating.
or something which will impede his eating.
ক্রোধ করি বলে মই না খাইমু ভাত দিব্য করি রহে নিজ শিরে দিয়ে হাত।
In an angry mood, he may say,
In angry mood, one may say,
I will not eat rice today.
I will not eat rice today.
I will not eat today.
I will not eat today.
He will touch his hand to his head
He may touch his hand on his head
and swear
and swear
to that effect.
to that effect.
অথবা সকল দ্রব্য হইলে বিদ্যমান আচম্বিতে দেহে জ্বর হইল অধিষ্ঠান।
Or otherwise, when they have all the varieties of edibles,
Or otherwise, one may have all the varieties of eatables.
when they suddenly be afflicted with a fever in the body,
But he may suddenly be afflicted with a fever in his body,
not be able to eat.
not be able to eat.
জ্বরে বেদনায় কোথা থাকিল ভক্ষণ অতএব ঈশ্বরের ইচ্ছা সে কারণ।
When he's suffering the effect of fever,
When he is suffering the effect of the fever,
or suffering the pain of the fever,
while suffering the pain of the fever,
how can he eat?
how can he eat?
Therefore, the will of the Supreme Lord
Therefore, the will of the Supreme Lord
remains as a cause.
remain as the cause, as a cause. remains as a corpse.
ত্রিভুবনে কৃষ্ণ দিয়াছেন অন্ন ছত্র, ঈশ্বরের ইচ্ছা থাকে মিলিবে সর্বত্র।
Lord Krishna has provided food for the three worlds.
Lord Krishna has supplied food for the three worlds.
If the Supreme Lord desires, one will certainly obtain it.
If the Supreme Lord desires it, one will certainly obtain it. Vaishnavas do not uselessly worry about food or clothing, for they are devoted to the Supreme Lord, who is known as Vishwambhara, he who supplies everyone's necessities.
Lord Chaitanya is training his followers how to depend on Krishna.
So, Lord Chaitanya is training his follower to how to depend on Krishna.
And without mercy of Krishna, we cannot eat or have any of our facilities.
Without the mercy of Krishna, we cannot eat or have any of our facilities.
So we should always remember Krishna.
So, we should always remember Krishna,
And that will make it everything very easily.
and that will make it everything very easily.
আপনে ঈশ্বর সর্বজনেরে শিখায়, ইহাতে বিশ্বাস যার সেই সুখ পায়।
In this way, the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, he taught everyone.
So, in this way, the Supreme Lord, Lord Chaitanya, he taught everyone.
One who has faith in the Lord's words
One who have faith in the Lord's words
obtains happiness.
obtains happiness.
যেতে মতে কেনে কোটি প্রযত্ন না করে, ঈশ্বরের ইচ্ছা হইলে সে ফল ধরে।
One may endeavor for something millions of different ways,
One may endeavor for something millions of different ways,
but the result will only come
but the result will only come
if the Supreme Lord desires it,
if the Supreme Lord desires it
sanctions it.
or sanctions that. Purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Being satisfied with the devotees, Sri Gaur-Sundar taught them the principle of full surrender. He said, although ample foods may be easily available by the desire of Krishna, even the son of a king may suffer the pangs of fasting. Although whatever the Supreme Lord sanctions may be rarely attained, one easily achieves it even while sitting in the forest. Although ample foods may be lying in front of a person, if by Krishna's will that person is afflicted by fever, he will be unable to eat. Moreover, the necessities of life automatically come by the will of the Lord. People who are puffed up with false ego and bewildered by illusion cannot understand these topics.
We understand that the Supreme Lord as Super Soul and present in everyone's heart.
So we understand that the Supreme Lord as the Super Soul present in everyone's heart.
And therefore, he can sanction our eating or not.
Therefore, he can sanction our eating or not.
So to depend on Krishna is a wise option.
So to depend on Krishna is the wise option.
If he doesn't desire, by all our endeavors, we cannot eat.
If he doesn't desires, by all our endeavors we cannot eat.
And if he sanctions, then even we're in a forest, we can eat.
If he sanction, even if we are in the forest, we can eat.
হেনমতে প্রভু তত্ত্ব কহিতে কহিতে উত্তরিলা আসি আটিসার নগরতে।
In this word, the Supreme Lord Gauranga, he revealed the truth.
So, in this way, the Supreme Lord Gauranga, he revealed the truth.
As they were walking.
After walking,
As they were walking.
as they were walking,
And then they came to the village of Atisara.
and then they came to the village of Atisara. The village Atisara is situated near Baruipur and is presently known as Ataghara Gram. In another option, Atisar is known as Katki Ghat.
আটিসারা গ্রামে অনন্ত পণ্ডিত গৃহে। সেই আটিসারা গ্রামে মহাভাগ্যবান আছেন পরম সাধু শ্রী অনন্ত নাম।
And that in the village of Atisara
In that village of Atisara
lived a very greatly fortunate person.
lived a very greatly fortunate person,
A transcendental pious person.
and he is a transcendental pious person
Named as Sri Ananda.
named as Sri Ananda.
Ananta.
Ananta.
রহিলেন আসি প্রভু তাহার আলয়ে, কি কহিব আর তার ভাগ্য সমচ্চয়ে।
Lord Chaitanya came and stayed in his house.
Lord Chaitanya came and stayed at his house.
What can I say about
What can I say about
the extent of his good fortune?
What can I say about the extent of his good fortune?
অনন্ত পণ্ডী অতি পরম উদার, পাইয়া পরমানন্দ বাহ্য নাহি আর।
Ananda Pandit was greatly magnanimous.
Ananda Pandit was greatly magnanimous.
Was very greatly magnanimous.
Was very greatly magnanimous.
He was so overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy
He was so overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy.
there was no external consciousness
There was no external consciousness
that he had.
that he had.
No external consciousness.
No external consciousness.
বৈকুণ্ঠের প্রতি আসি অতিথি হইলা, সন্তোষের ভিক্ষার সহ্য করিতে লাগিলা।
Lord of Vaikuntha, Sri Chaitanya, came to his house and became his guest.
The Lord of Vaikuntha, Sri Chaitanya, came to his house and became his guest.
Ananda Pandit therefore happily
Ananta Pandit therefore happily
began to arrange the Lord's
the Lord's
meal.
meal. We believe that the place near Barupur, known as Ataghar or Ataghar, in the district of 24 Parganas, is the place formerly known as Atisar. The Ganges previously flowed near this place. From this place, Mahaprabhu went to Chhatrabhoga. Chhatrabhoga is situated near the village of Ataghar. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is stated that Atiti Devo Bhava. A guest is good as God. In the Garuda Purana, it is stated, a guest usually remains at the house of a person for as long as it takes to milk a cow, one who serves a guest according to one's ability.
সর্বগণ সহ প্রভু করিলেন ভিক্ষা সন্ন্যাসীরে ভিক্ষা ধর্ম করায় না শিক্ষা
Along with his associates, the Supreme Lord took
Along with his associates, the Supreme Lord took
their meal at his house.
their meal at his house.
The Supreme Lord thus arranged to show how one should feed a sannyasi.
The Supreme Lord thus arranged to show how one should feed a sannyasi. In the Jabala Upanishad, it is stated a member of the renounced order becomes fit to realize his spiritual nature by wearing colorless dress, by keeping a shaven head, by not collecting things for himself, by remaining clean, by not fighting with others, and by subsisting on alms. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned
11:18.
it is mentioned, rejecting those houses that are polluted and untouchable, one should approach without previous calculation 7 houses and be satisfied with that which is obtained there by begging according to necessity. One may approach each of the 4 occupational orders of society. In the Garuda Purana, it is stated, carrying a tridhanda and kamandalu, wearing only a single cloth, and concerned for the welfare of all, a sannyasi may sometimes enter a village to beg some alms. In the Garuda Purana, it is also mentioned, the duties of a renunciant are understood to be begging for his sustenance, listening to scripture, and practice of silence, austerity, careful meditation, correct knowledge, and detachment.
So this aspect of the sannyas dharma was taught by Lord Chaitanya.
So, this aspect of the sannyas dharma was taught by Lord Chaitanya.
Actually, the situation in the present day is very simple.
Actually, the situation in the present day is very simple.
And except in some holy places in India,
Except in some holy places in India,
people may not know how to accept a sannyasi.
people do not know how to accept a sannyasi,
Receive a sannyasi.
receive a sannyasi.
So, in Kali Yuga, it's recommended sannyasi live in some ashram or holy temple of the Lord.
In Kali Yuga, it is recommended for a sannyas to live in an ashram or a holy temple of the Lord
And engage in devotional service.
and engage in devotional service.
But Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that sannyasi should travel.
But Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that a sannyasi should also travel
And thus bless the different people in the world.
and thus bless the different peoples of the world. People of the world.
সর্বরাত্রি কৃষ্ণ কথা কীর্তন প্রসঙ্গে আছিলেন অনন্ত পণ্ডিত গৃহে রঙ্গে
On the whole night, discussing the Lord's glories, Lord Krishna's glories,
Throughout the whole night, discussing Lord Krishna's glories.
with great happiness, he was in the house of Ananta Pandit.
With great happiness, he was in the house of Ananta Pandit.
Our Lord Chaitanya was discussing and doing kirtan of Lord Krishna.
So, Lord Chaitanya was passing by doing kirtan of Lord Krishna, discussing and doing kirtan of Lord Krishna.
So, in this way, he happily passed the night.
In this way, he will happily pass the night.
And he gave great blessing to Ananda Pandit.
He gave great blessings to Ananta Pandit.
Actually, we see in the pastime of Lord Chaitanya,
Actually, we see in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya,
it doesn't seem like he sleeps.
it doesn't seem like he sleeps.
Anytime he's talking about Krishna and doing kirtan,
Night time he's talking about Krishna and doing kirtan.
daytime he's talking about Krishna.
Daytime he's talking about Krishna.
He always fully absorbed in Krishna kirtan, Krishna Shravan kirtan.
He was always fully absorbed in Krishna Shravan and Kirtan. Thus ends the chapter. Lord Chaitanya teaches the principles of surrender and reaches the village of Atisar.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.